Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for coming. Welcome to GQUAT Traditions, where good friends become family and family is everything. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Waiting to see who's coming into the room. Come on in the room. I say, come on in the room. Yes, yes, yes. Come on in, everybody, for a pop up edition of Garden, Quilt, and Art Traditions. Happy Saturday from Connecticut, 6B, Garden Zone, that is. Is anybody there? Checking, checking, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, testing. Looks like I'm live. Oh no, it's not 6:30. I see what's going on. Hello, everybody. Hello, Sissy Joanne Stevens, and welcome to the Saturday edition of GQuat Traditions. Hello, my Renaissance Grandma. Hello, Pam Robertson. Welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is a special edition because one of the regular Saturday shows that comes on every Saturday, it will not be going live tonight. So the fourth Saturday, I decided I will do an extra live, and I have a special request to show how to do some things. I'm not showing anything else, am I? Okay. Okay, everybody. Come on in and please hit the thumbs up when you come in. Hello, G Mama Grows, and welcome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you're having a good day. It was raining cats and dogs here in Connecticut 6B this morning, but I went out there anyway. I had to go to the post office. I had to go get Mr. Hershey some dog food. But while I was there, I had a special request from a subscriber, which I will be showing you. Hello, Maria Graham, and welcome. She says hello to everybody in chat. My Renaissance Grandma says hello to everyone in chat. Pam Robertson, good morning good evening. It doesn't say anything about morning. People just read what they want to read, you know? Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, we're not doing any gardening today, but we will be talking about some things strictly arts, crafts, DIY, and everything. I'm so excited because today, what we're actually going to do, I'm going to show you how to make a quilt journal, like the ones I showed you last week, totally by hand. One of the things I'd like to show you as we are preparing is this is a journal that I received as a gift several years ago. I didn't use it because I knew it cost tons and tons of money. This little thing, because it's leather, I know cost over $100. And it was a gift. Hello, Martika, and welcome. Thank you for coming. And I didn't want to use it. Now I use it all the time. It's actually my gardening journal. But what I wanted to show you is that, do you see here where the artist signed it? There's no label on it, just this one little handwritten signature for all that money. And I wanted to say that because when you guys make things, I want you to be sure and sign your work. And you don't need anything fancy to do it. Hello, Grammy's Journal. Jones Truth, thank you. Welcome for coming in. Hello, Beltlu. What's up to you? Thank you for stopping by and hitting that like button. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, this journal is a very simple journal, but what I wanted to show you about this one is how I make the handmade journals. And so, special thing, this is just a piece of ribbon. So, the journals you make can be just as simple. I made some notes to go over because, they built the pyramids by hand centuries and centuries ago. And everything you see now being done with those fancy computers, cutting machines, you don't need all that. You do not need all of that to make something beautiful. As a matter of fact, what I wanted to show you is a mug rug that I made some time ago. You saw me making these. I showed you how to make them. They're in some of the lives, so you can go back. This is a mug rug, and it's actually for the New Orleans gardener who is called Hello Butterroll Boutique and Welcome, Nog. But she loves the fleur de lis. That's her symbol. And I put one in the back on gold fabric, and I zigzagged it on. What I wanted to show you is how I did this. Hello, Laquita Marie, and welcome. I know that's you over there. What I wanted to show you is that I took a little plastic template, traced a fleur de lis. I wanted to do it by hand so I could show you guys. I put it on a piece of gold fabric. I traced it by hand, and I cut it out with just a piece of scissors. Now, there are all kinds of fancy adhesives that you can use, but you know what I did on this one, just to show you how to keep it simple, was just a couple of drops of glue just to hold it in the corners. Gary, you're one of the ones, I know you said that you don't sew, but you don't have to sew, and that's why we are doing a complete journal by hand today. Okay, so this one, as I said, is going to the New Orleans gardener. About the label, I just showed you a label on a $100 something journal that actually came from Ralph Lauren years ago, and they just simply signed it with a pen, which is the same thing you can do. It leads me to the next thing I'm going to show you, because this is also for the New Orleans gardener. She likes purple, and this is a label. I draw a lot of my labels. You can print them on a computer. What you need to do, this is a pre-printed label, but what I did was iron some freezer paper, and I left the two labels so that you could see the freezer paper on there. And what that does is stiffen it so that when I write on it with a pen, and I'll do it just to show you, it doesn't go through. And I'm just going to write TNOG for the New Orleans gardener. But one thing I do want to tell you, and you can also just take a crayon and colors and make labels. See where I wrote Nog? Okay, so all she has to do is put her grandmother's name and information on there, and she has a label. You peel it away. After you write on it, you peel it off and just sew it onto a quilt or anything. Your clothes, kids going to camp. That's all you have to do. Hello, Barb Brownlee. Glad your internet came up. You're not the only one whose internet went out. Anybody else? I know that Maria Graham had trouble with hers, and I'm glad you guys are safe. That's the main thing. Another thing I wanted to talk to you about. Welcome, everybody, to the GQUAT family reunion bus, where good friends become family, and family is everything. Hello, guess who, Nancy? First time here. Moderators, can somebody write her name down so that I can remember and go back and thank her later on? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One of the things I use to decorate journals, totes, things like that. And the reason I'm talking about that, even though we're not making a tote tonight, you saw me make some and give them out for gifts for my big monetization and giveaway. And I was taking out these buttons. This button is actually going to go on Latanya Lewis's bag. But I wanted to show you something. Those of you who have family, go to thrift shops. This is, who has ever seen one of these in your life? Your grandma, your mama had a button, a thing, and collected old buttons. Well, this is a happy, sad story. One of the ladies who lives in my building, who's actually a writer, her mom passed not too long ago. And she came down to my arts and craft class and she said, Ellen, I don't know anybody who would appreciate this except you. And she gave me this button container that has her mom's old, old buttons on it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do something special with it. And when I put little things and decorations on buttons, on bags and other things, you can put them on a decoration on your journal. You can actually use it to fasten a journal. But I wanted to advise you guys to see. Oh, guess who, Nancy? Hi, all. Thank you for coming. Hello, I bring it every day, Kelly. Thank you for coming. Isn't that a wonderful gift, Sissy? And there's pieces of her grandmother's lace. I mean, I was trying to be brave. Like, I remember I have my mom. I hope you're listening, Mom. I sent you the link, I think, to come up. And I was trying to be a big girl and be brave and accept it graciously and with all the respect and honor befitting it. So I want you guys to save things like this. I think some of you saw a video that I posted with some of my favorite sewing machines. They're all vintage. One of them, two of them that I really use all the time, they're 75 years old. Just like, guess who will be 3/4 of a century this year? Me. I will be celebrating it in Arizona, though, Zone 9B, with my sister and the family I have out there. And hi, Butterroll Boutique, if I didn't say it already. And hello to everyone in case I missed somebody. But I just wanted to mention about saving the buttons. And I have so much respect for this one. I won't even put it on the floor because I don't put things, sacred things on the floor. I wouldn't put my Bible or the Quran or whatever you believe in on the floor. I'm not putting that on the floor either. I don't put my purse on the floor either. You know what happened about that? One day, years ago, one of my friends came by and I don't know what happened, but I said, I'm not putting my purse on the floor. So I took my purse and I put it on the refrigerator, the highest thing in the house, one of those big, tall refrigerators. And that same friend came back and said, guess what? I hit the lottery and they gave me $800 as a gift. Babe, as Mona sifting some soil says, baby, I have not put my purse on the floor since then. I am going to keep it high. So now going to today's topic. Oh, by the way, the same piece of fabric backed up with freezer paper, you iron it on, it will go through a printer, an inkjet printer, just like a piece of paper, and you can print anything from your computer onto here. You can also write on it with crayons and save your art, except the Crayola, you can only use Crayola brand crayons, and you have to heat set it with an iron. So even my Sharpie things, I heat set it with an iron to keep it, make it permanent. Now, oops, there I go dropping stuff. So, what I want to tell you is that to sew anything, anything. All you need is a basic kit. So when I went to Walmart today, I made a kit for one of my subscribers. She will get it in the next couple of weeks because she saw the journals and she said, Miss Helen, I don't have a sewing machine. My answer, you don't need a sewing machine. And I said, well, like the paper ones, you can make one and not put the pen thing placket on there. She said, but that's what I want. I want to put the pen pocket on it. And she's actually wants to make some journals and send it back to her country that she came from. So I'm going to show you. She told me the budget was $20. And since who said something, I don't have any money? Guess who, Nancy? Okay. I spent $22 and some change. I have the receipt down there because I'm starting to save my receipts now that I'm monetized because I spent so much money on the channel. Here's my receipt for $137. I paid my box rent. I have my Walmart receipt for the gel pens that I bought to go in the journal. But I want to show you a few simple things that I bought that if you buy this for the same $22, and I will give her 4 fat quarters already cut out, and I will give her the batting so that she can make 4 journal covers. Oh, and by the way, you see this journal cover? This is one I made, and this type of embroidery on there is called shikado. It's a Japanese shishako. And so I put my name on it. This is actually my favorite one. And I made a big pen pocket because I keep this one near my bed and I write in different journals. Hello, Mike's Chaotic Garden, and welcome. Thank you for coming. So I want to show you for $22. It's a lifetime investment, and you can make journals and give them as gifts. So this is a sewing kit. It's $9.99 at Walmart. Not that I'm Walmart is paying me. I usually call it Wally World, but I want you to know really where I got it. There are 73 pieces in here for $9.99. There is a white pencil, a blue pencil, a thimble, black and white thread. I don't use regular thread when I'm making quilting or doing hand sewing. I bought her some special hand hand quilting hand quilting thread that's really heavy and it won't break when you're pulling on it. So in this one kit for $9.99, there are a few safety pins, a tape measure, some hand needles. Some of them have pretty big holes on it for threading, a needle threader, a small pin cushion, large scissors, and these happen to be pretty sharp. Smaller scissors, a seam ripper. Trust me, you're going to sew something that shouldn't be, whether by sewing machine or hand, and you're going to have to pull it out. And some suicide pins, Pins. She's not even going to see these because I'm going to take them out and throw them away. The reason I call them suicide pins is because if you leave one of these stuck in some fabric and a baby lays on it or you lay on it, this is going to stab you. This is really dangerous. They used to have these back in the day. So out of her $20, I bought her some pins with a little round head. This was just a couple of dollars, but I'm going to put them in her pin cushion for her so that she can use, and these are safe. I have a little canvas bag. It's not handmade, but I'm going to give it to her to keep her things in. I bought this extra thimble. I didn't realize there was one in the kit, but I will give her money for it and return it. So here's the thread. And then there is some, this is a fusible that you can use. A fusible, it's called Heat and Bond Light. And as we go through the years together, I will show you some of the things. What it is a double-sided fusible that you can put on the front and back of fabrics. And this one was, I think, like $1.97, less than $2, but it's good to have in your kit. And because we will be using so many things, you can take a pair of old jeans and cut them up and make a journal out of it. And you already have all the other things you need other than some batting. And I would recommend that each of you who don't already have some cotton batting at least buy a piece the size of a crib size, because you will be using it for so many things. The last thing I bought her was some Elmer's glue. What I was showing you when I glued on T Nog's mug rug, I use another kind of glue, but Elmer's glue just to tack it until you can sew it. That's all you need. That's all you need. And that's what is in her kit. So tell me, you guys, what garden zones are you in? G Mama Grows has put up my Cash App if you'd like to bless the channel. I do try to help others. As a matter of fact, on my way out this morning, I took some extra food that I had in my prepper pantry and I put it down on the community table. I live in a building that has 79 apartments. I have a handicapped apartment. No, I don't want to live in a house. If I wanted to live in a house, I could get a house. I could live with my sister Joanne and her husband. They offered me 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. I could live at my mom's house. I had 2 bedrooms and a bathroom there. I like being on my own and all my treasures around me, like you see. And then I don't have to worry about um, hurting anybody's feelings or trashing their house. So, without further ado, does anybody have any questions? Who is interested in finding out how to make a journal by hand? Or some of you guys that do have car repairs or whatever, it would be nice to have a journal out there, or fishing, whatever you're doing. For those of you who are new, I know there's one person new. Here's a journal I made for one of my moderators. And this one is some hunting fabric that I had. This one is for Stacy Hands in the Dirt. I will show this one last because I don't have any more of that fabric right now. Oh, and here is a roll of the ribbon. Years ago, I went and bought a sellout. This is a piece of ribbon that can be glued in the back of a journal when making it by hand. So today, so that we don't have a thick strip to sew on, sewing by hand, I took this piece of ribbon and we will use these for a page marker, because these journals, and some of these will be going out to my moderators. Barb Brownlee's in 5B6A, Pam Robertson, Zone 9, the blind guy and his wife. Your husband can even make one. He can make one. This is that simple. He can feel it with his hands. Not everybody knows, but I am totally blind in one eye. I can see, I have 20/20 vision now with my other eye thanks to cataract surgery. But when I was legally blind, none of the specialists, I see 10 different specialists at Yale. Hi, Huga Homestead. I think I'm saying it correctly. I think I was saying it correctly. And the doctors didn't want to operate because if something went wrong, I would be totally unalterably blind. But now I have 20/20 vision in my right eye. It's perfect. And my depth perception is off because I don't see out of my left, but you can feel around the edges. Joanne Stevens can tell you that the family used to go through and hand thread needles for me, hand thread my sewing machine. I could feel it, but I couldn't see it. Butterroll Boutique. If you Google your state and probably your zip code, they will tell you exactly what gardening zone you're in. And the only reason I say that because I met most of you originally by, I'm trying to get to the bottom of the chat, by gardening. GQUAT Traditionsz actually stands for, it's an acronym. It stands for Garden, Quilt, and Art Traditions. I have lived through 8 generations. I knew my great grandma on my dad's side, all 4 of my grandparents. I grew up with my parents and lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. Lots. So, going on to the journals that you can make by hand, this one is a very beautiful one. And these make such nice gifts. The lady that I made this kit for is making journals to send back to her church in the country that she came from. She's not from the United States. But what I also wanted to show you, this another journal for those of you who are new. Hello, Erica Taylor, and thank you for coming. This one, I only had a little bit of fabric, and this, I didn't make it as big as I wanted to fit over the book. But guess what? It's still a nice journal, and it has a leather pen holder, and it has a page holder. But what I wanted to tell you is that you could put straps on it, and you can carry your book. You can put your Bible in it. That's what a lot of people are doing. Some of the people in my arts and craft class, um, made Bible covers. So, a blind guy and his wife, thank you, was saying to anyone who Butterroll Boutique to just Google this sentence: what is the grow zone for the city and the state? Okay, so now we are going to make a journal cover by hand because you would not be able to sew through a piece of leather. I like to use leather for the pen cover. I have a piece of fabric. It's 6.5 inches square. I folded it in half just to save some time, and glad all's okay. Mike had a tornado go through my area last night. I'm glad everyone is okay. I'm glad everyone is okay. So I'm going to sew this in front of you and show you how to make the pen pocket. These are some pieces of fabric that I have pre-cut. How many of you have something to write on right now? Raise your hand if you have something to raise your hand, because I will give you the exact measurements that I bring it every day. I'm in 6B, Connecticut 6B. I will give you the exact measurements of the fabric that I'm using to make this journal. So, oh, of let me explain to you what a fat quarter is. A fat quarter, because I'm going to give you some notes to write down so that you will know exactly how much fabric to cut and how to do it. I see you, um, Barb Brownlee, Joanne Stevens, Hugo Homestead, Maria Graham. I bring it every day, Kelly. I'm going to, Mike, you can make one too. Mike's Chaotic Gardening. So, a, a quarter yard of fabric. A yard, everybody, most of you know, is 36 inches of fabric. Did I bring? No, I didn't bring a yardstick over here. It's 36 inches. Half of 36 inches is 18. Half of that is 9 inches. So 9 inches would be a quarter yard. But what a fat quarter is a yard of fabric, then you cut it in half, but then you cut it in half lengthwise. So you end up with a piece of fabric. Most American fabric is 42, 44 inches wide. You end up with a piece of fabric that is 18 by 22 minimum, sometimes 21. So this was half of the fat quarter, 22, 22 inches. And 22 inches by 12, I cut this piece of fabric. And the composition book that we're going to cover, this composition book is actually 7.5 by 10. So we'll have plenty of room to work around and sew this. Hello, David Corey with Crop. You are just in time. I'm showing how to make a journal by hand with a pen cover. So I have you guys already pre-cut this piece of fabric. What did I just say? Here we go. Oh, 12 by 22. I'm going to write that down because the lady that I'm making the kit for, by 22 fabric, and the batting, I made less. Actually, why don't I just deconstruct this whole thing? I'm going to take it apart. These are some that I pre-started, so we're going to start all the way from scratch. So here's a piece of fabric, like you bought it from the store, and then you've already cut it 12 by 22 inches. Does everybody see that? Okay, then I cut a piece of cotton batting. This is cotton batting. You can buy crib size, then you'll be able to make lots of things. And I cut now you can cut yours any size that you want, any size that works for you. So the cotton batting, I cut 18 inches wide by 10.5 inches. So what I did, okay. What I did was open up my fabric. I put my book inside of it so that I can see how big I was supposed to be, where to fold it. And remember the brown paper bag book covers that you made in school? This is basically what we're doing, but with fabric. So I folded the bottom down. I folded it under, and I'm going to leave like a 1/4 inch. I'm not folding it the exact size of the book because we're going to do some sewing on it, and we want the cover to slip inside the binding. Hello, passionately intrigued art. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm saying your channel name because sometimes when I say your first name, people who don't know you personally, Tracy, they don't know who I'm talking to or talking about. So this is a piece of fabric that is 12 by 22. And what did I say? 18 by 10.5 for the batting. So I folded the raw edges under just a little bit, like a 1/2 inch on each side, 1/2 inch on each side. And I went to the ironing board and I pressed them. I pressed them flat. Then I made a mark to see about where I'm taking this tape off, because you can adhere the binding on any way you want to, but I'm going to show you a way that's quick. You don't have to have all the fancy adhesive or iron-on stabilizer. And I'm folding the top of the fabric over the batting at the top and the bottom. The top and the bottom, so that it's flat. Can you guys see how like all the edges are folded in? Okay, does anybody have any questions so far? Do you understand what I'm doing? Okay, so that part is simple. It's just like the paper bag things. So what I'm going to do, you can use glue. You can go to the dollar store. I already had this tape. Get some masking tape. And what you want to do is tape the edges of this journal. This is exactly how I did all the journals that you see at the bottom. I guess this is like 1/2-inch tape, and I'm just going to tape it on the inside. Tape it in the inside. I could take it all the way across, except it usually gets stuck on something before I do that. So I'm just going to do it in increments, and so that you guys can see the whole thing that I'm doing. Okay, all this is by hand, you guys. So this is not the exact same size as this, so guess what? We overlap it. Ta-da! Overlap it. So now it's tucked in. It's tucked in on both sides, on the top and the bottom. The sides, if you want to tape them down, you can. If you have a sewing machine, you can sew them. You've seen me sew them. At this point, this is where I put my little label on. I have, and you guys should always, always, always sign your work. I have some little labels. Those of you who know me personally, because it wasn't my career when I was making things and selling them. Hello, Good Eats Homestead. Thank you for coming and welcome. So I have these little labels, just say original by Penny Panky. But of course, we know that you can sign the journal on the fabric, or you can sign the paper. But the thing about these journals is that you can switch the journal out, but when it gets full, and just replace them. And what I do, because I have pinking shears, I just cut a little bit off the end of the label so that it doesn't ravel. Or you can turn it under and sew it under. Or you can, guess what? Glue it on. You can glue it on. I wouldn't glue it at this stage. You could also, instead of using tape, use glue or sew along the edges. All right. So now guess what? Our journal cover is coming right along. Most of my journals I make with the purple dragonflies going up, but I'm going to put them down so that the blue dragonflies can be going up. So now I'm going to take the composition book and center it on top of the fabric. I'm going to lightly fold it under so I can see about where to fold it under. And I have something called Wonder Clips, but you can use a pin, you can use a paper clip, and You see this edge is already folded under, and I'm going to put a clip to hold the top and a clip to hold the bottom. Can you see that? You are a real creator tonight, Laquita Marie. Then I'm going to turn it over and do, here's a little side that we're going to fold under. You can sew it under, you can tape it under. I'm just going to hold it under. Like this. So that it fits snugly. I'm going to put a clip here and a clip here. I will show you one second. Okay, so now I'm checking. I'm like, oops, I made it too small. No problem. It's only clipped. So we take it out again and move the clips so that it fits the way you want it to fit. Okay. So now we're trying it on for size. To make sure that it fits. Okay, so guess what? I still didn't do it right because I was talking, so I'll pull it out some more. And clip it. And clip it. So now you can already see that this is a journal cover. So it's like, okay, so how do we keep it there with no sewing machine? We're making it by hand, right? Hey there, Goody Tomestead. Auntie Ellen has me. Yes. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the book out because it's in the way. And you see where the top of this is? Where it's folded under? Where it's folded under? I'm going to take a hand needle and thread. I'm using white thread so that you can see it. And there are ways to sew it so that you can't see it. And I'm just going to hand stitch. If you use black thread or a different colored thread, of course you couldn't see it. You can whip stitch it. You can whip stitch it. You could just do a little running stitch like this. Whatever you like. I'm going to do just a running stitch so that you can see what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, guess what? I don't have my thumb on my thimble on my thumb, so I just pushed it down on the tabletop. Okay. So I'm doing this just so that you guys can see what I'm doing. See the needle down, down, up. And I'm making big stitches just so that you can see them. Because this is not about pretty, this is about productive. This is about having a nice journal cover. And like the quilting with the big stitches can actually be pretty. So I've gotten to the other end. I'm just going to whip stitch it. across to the end. When I get to the end, I'm going to make a knot and push it down on the inside. Then we're going to cut it. Then I'm going to knot the thread. You guys remember when you used to lick your fingers and get a big old, you don't do that anymore because of, stuff that's going around or anything. I remember once years ago, I was in law school and I was going to school at night, and they had Maria Graves' Good Job on Ellen, and everything was written in a blue book. Everything was essay style. So this one professor, he's going giving our exam books out, and he gets this big sloppy, and then he gives you your paper back. When he got to me, I said, "Oh, please, could I have more spit on mine? I'd like to have an extra bit of spit." Well, me and that teacher, I barely passed that class. I don't think he liked my comment. Yeah, yeah. Nobody wants your spit, so um, just you can keep some water there. All of us are drinking water anyway. So you see the inside of this where it's turned in. So I'll finish the side I was working on. Trying to see where you guys could see me best. So, and again, everybody, I don't know anybody who would turn down this gift. Nobody. So I'm just simply sewing across the top of the other one, the other side. Just a minute. I'm sorry I'm missing you guys in the chat. I will look up in 1 minute. And be sure not to stick the needle through your finger. Make a little knot and bury the thread so that you can't see it. So I sold it kind of sloppy because I was trying to hurry up. But you see, you're going to try to make one next week. Nobody wants your spit. Exactamente. So now I've got half of this sewn. I'm just going to make sure that it still fits. We don't want to do all this work for nothing. Okay, so now the other side is ready. So, uh-oh. No, I didn't drop my needle. Here you are. And what I'm going to do is take my thread. Oh, by the way, you guys, when you're threading a needle, if you can't see it, and especially a sewing machine needle, you take a piece of white paper and hold it in back. For some reason, let me at least put it near some light. Bear with me, guys. Ta-da! It used to take me a half an hour or more to do this. It was so frustrating when I was blind. But look, I did it. It's already threaded. So now, what are we going to do? I'm going to give myself a little more thread. Not too much. If you make it too long, it tangles up. It gets knotted. But one thing and another thing, don't buy the cheapest thread that you see. Like, I'm not, you guys know I love the Dollar Tree. I don't know about their thread, but this is a, a brand name thread. I like good thread when I'm making things. I don't want my things falling apart. So I'm going to take this, wrap it around my finger, slide it through, no spit, no spit. And now we have a knot. Hello, Yankee sister. Welcome, my sister. How are you doing? So now we're going to do the other side of the journal cover. So I'm making sure that that little inside is turned in. And I'm just showing you guys that you can actually do this without a fancy sewing machine, without any sewing machine. I take a couple stitches in the beginning where it's going to get a lot of wear and tear. And I'm going to go through and stitch it. And I'm doing it in front of you just because I want to show you that it can actually be done. You can make a quilt by hand the same way. My grandmother, actually, my grandmothers had machines when they were older, but they made a lot of my paternal grandmother made her quilts by hand. She quilted the tops. Quilting is when you put the 3 layers together. She did that by hand too. Does anybody here have a treadle machine? I have a couple of treadle machines. I actually sold one. I had 35 sewing machines before I downsized. I used to collect machines, especially vintage machines. Those old black sewing machines, those old black Singers or Kenmores or whatever in the family's basement or attic. You guys need to get those out. And all you need is some oil and a little brush. I have a little brush that looks like an oven cleaning brush. I clean the threads out of my machine. Every time I change the bobbin, I take the dust out. I take the dust out. And my old machines are what I use every day. This one, I'm doing a special project, and I needed a machine that did decorative stitching for an fiber art, an art quilt that I'm making. I'll show you guys when I finish it. So now we're doing the 4th side already. You see how fast this is going, even by hand. You learn to sew on a treadle. So Mike, what do you mean you not making one? I'm telling your wife on you. I am telling. Oh, one of my friends who is a quilter, her husband is a quilter. He was in the Navy and he worked something in the Navy. He's a lawyer now, but when he was in the Navy, he worked sewing stuff on uniforms, and he can sew better than her. Her work is a hot mess. A hot mess. When I woke up in intensive care, she bought me this little quilt that she made. It was so touching. Boy, that quilt, I still have it. Mr. Hershey loves it. She says, Ellen, what did you do with my quilt? I told her the truth. I still have it. It was made with love, and she's still my friend. I need to go to Florida and visit the both of them, and we have a sewing retreat. So, and see, if I was sewing this with black thread, you wouldn't even see my sloppy stitches. But neither would I, because I can't see black on black. It would be invisible to me. Ta-da! See this? Guess what? The journal cover is done already. It's done. That's all there is to it. So now I'm going to put a knot in the needle again because we're going to make a page holder. So to save time, we're just going to take a little piece of ribbon. This is like 1/4 inch ribbon from any craft store, Michael's, Joann's, whoever. It's difficult working with black, it's hard to see. So, but I'm going to cut a little piece. And just like that $100 journal, it only has a piece of ribbon in it. We're going to put a piece of ribbon in here too. Uh-oh, that side's crooked. So I'm going to find a little place in here and I'm going to sew a piece of ribbon for a page cover. I'm doing it in white thread so that you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just putting a couple stitches in here. You won't be able to see them because the journal will cover it. Okay, so now the journal cover is finished. Oh, you can leave it like that, or you can make the pen pocket. Come out, wherever you are. Oh, here you are. Of course. Safely filed on the floor. So now we're going to take this and make a pen pocket to go on the front of our journal cover. Let me see. So I'm going to make this one kind of long because you might want to put a pencil in here or something. And I'm going to sew around the edges in a 1/4 inch seam. So what if you can't sew a straight 1/4 inch? Guess what? You take a ruler and you draw a line to sew on. And those of you who are not used to sewing by hand, that should be the first thing that you do if you want to try to sew a straight line. So I'm just making a dotted line to sew on. And I'm going to leave about a 2-inch opening on the bottom so that I can turn this pocket inside out. So my thread is short. I'm going to rethread the needle and try to get enough thread to go around the pocket. So I'm doing this to show you if you can do it this easily with I have to be quiet 1 minute so I can thread this. So the light has changed. Let me get over here. Goodbye. So that, you see this, you guys? If a half blind person can thread a needle, and oh, you know what? You know what? You can too. I have some special needles that I bought when I couldn't see, and I'll have to show these to you next time. And you don't thread them at all. You put the thread down through a slot in the top, not on the floor, on the top, and you thread the needle, and then you can feel it. You can feel it going around. How many of you guys, while I'm sewing there, are content creators? Have your own channels? Raise your hand. And those of you, I use those metal pointy hope things through the needle. I have some of those. There's one of those in that little. I don't know if you were here in the beginning, Mike, when I showed that little kit. There's some of those pointy things over there. So, Mike, I expect to see something that you've sewn very soon. Something you have sewn very, very soon. Mike's mom had a sewing machine like from 1800. Uh, whose sister has a treadle machine in her garage? For her sister who lives in Connecticut, it just comes out and takes over her house. Would you raise your hand, please, Joanne Stevens? I don't know how many sewing machines I have out there or her sewing machines. I just go over there and stay. I have gone there for staycations in May for her birthday, May 16th, and gone back home to Connecticut in September for my mom's birthday. I think it's called a staycation. Okay, so just so that you can see where I sewed the, actually, I didn't sew it yet. I put sewing lines on there to sew around just so that I could show you how quickly and easily you can make a journal by hand. So, for this, there are different types of stitches. One is called a running stitch. So, in the beginning, you always back stitch, right? But for this, it's going to be turned inside out. You're not doing a lot. I'm just going to do a little running stitch. So you see me go up, down. Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Like 3 or 4 stitches. And then you back stitch 1 or 2. Get to the corner and turn it. Three or four stitches. Back again. If I'm missing anybody in the chat, I'm sorry, but I'm trying to just get this done so I can show you how to do it. Of course, if you have a sewing machine, it's even easy peasy. But I just want to show everybody that you can have one with just a few hand tools. The $20, $22 that I spent for my subscriber to make a little kit. She will have this the rest of her life. The rest of her life, and she can hand sew anything. I'm going to show you how to hand piece quilts as well. And like whenever I have to sit, I take handicap transportation a lot to the doctor's offices. One thing, the the parking to go to a medical facility is ridiculous. It's $4, $5, $6, $8 an hour. Where if you're a handicapped senior, you take the handicap bus, it's $3.50 one way. Park where? Drive where? Gas who? Nope, not doing it. So I'm almost finished. Take this one pin out. And we're almost at the end of this little pen pocket. Of course, I could actually go slower and do it actually neater, but whether it's neater or not, you guys will have a general idea how to make a journal by hand. And by being so slow, these are good little scissors to have, just for cutting threads. And whenever I take the needle out, because I'm famous for losing things and I can't see the needle when it's loose, I always tie a knot in the end of it so the needle doesn't fall out and end up. I don't like carpet. I like hardwood floors, but this apartment that I live in, the area where my arts and craft area, it has carpet. So I just try to be careful. So now you see it's sewn part of the way around. I left a little pocket. I'm going to take the scissors and cut the corners so that they lay flat. Be careful not to cut your stitches. Yes, I'm OCD-ish. I put all the thread in my little trash can over there. So now I'm going to turn it inside out. Hope I left enough room. It's a bit tight. It's a bit tight, but we got this. So I'm turning it inside out. I'm turning it inside out. And this was my good gold fabric, but I had it for T-Nug, so I said it'll match this little dragonfly journal. So I wanted you guys to see how it's done. Where is... I usually have a chopstick over here. Maybe he fell on the floor. But use whatever you have. If you don't have a chopstick, I will use this marker. Turn the corners inside out. Push it down. Push this corner. Are you guys enjoying this? Little... Okay, Maria, thank you for coming and stay safe. Your power's dead. It didn't come back on. I had you've never seen that sewing technique before. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are my family now. Yay. Oh, where's my bell? GQUAT family reunion, boss. Okay, so now normally I would go to the ironing board and press it, but you can hand press it. You can use whatever you have. There happens to be an emery board over here. I'm using this. I have wooden presses, other things. I found that thing at the Dollar Tree. It accidentally fell into my cart. I didn't know what it was for. It has a stiletto at the end for poking things or stabbing things, whatever. But you can use this to what they call hand press the corners. Okay, you see this? Oops, that corner's not pushed all the way down. Let's make him nice and pointy. So now, see, it's nice and pointy. And normally I would sew that, but guess what? When I put it on the journal cover, and if you have anything like this sharp out, guys, put the top back on it and put it away. I had to go to the foot doctor this week because I was standing at the kitchen counter and I dropped a plate on my foot and the plate actually broke. Well, I didn't realize that my foot was so bruised. I went to the foot doctor with my cute little toes. And the first thing they said was, "What happened to your foot?" I'm like, "You see it? So yeah, you have a bruise on it." Yeah, I knocked a pretty big bruise on it. So now what I'm doing is sewing the pencil pocket. I'm actually going to put it with this side down, so when I sew around it, it will stay there. Now, the one thing I want to point out, because I almost did it, not paying attention, talking to you guys, when you put your pen pocket on, where you have it folded under, make sure that your pocket is not on top of there because you have to put the book in there. So instead of hand sewing it around here to save time, and maybe I'll do a little decorative stitching, I will put on the sewing machine and just go around it just so that I can show you in real time. Oh, you see this little rubber thing? This is actually a rug pad from the Dollar Tree. I put that under my sewing machine to keep it from jiggling, running all over this little lightweight machine. My heavy ones don't do that. But I also put one of them under the foot pad so that it doesn't slide all over the place. So without further ado, actually I think I'll put a little decorative stitch across the top of here. I'm going to back stitch a minute to hold it. Then I'm just going to sew across the top so you can see how much faster. I was looking at sewing machines, inexpensive ones, heavy duty ones. Even at Wally World today, they did have sewing machines for like, I don't know, $50, $80 and up. For those of you that want to get one, you can go to the thrift shop, the Goodwill, some of the other secondhand stores have excellent machines. They just need to be oiled, just so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Push you over. And I'm just going to sew this by machine. Of course, it can all be done by hand, just so that I can show you guys how easy it is to make a journal cover from start to finish. I'm back stitching. And take your time. You don't have to sew at Mach 1. You're not working in the sewing machine piecing shop. And it's supposed to be enjoyable and have fun. You can't have fun if you're all stressed out and your work ends up looking like who done it. That's not fun. Plus, fabric costs a lot of money. I bought this fabric. I'm repeating it. Some of you who have been with me know I bought it in advance for a lady who said she wanted a queen size quilt. So I gave her, it's not quite to the corner, I'm going to go a little closer to the corner. And I bought all this fabric. Then I got stuck with it because she never got the quilt. But it's making some beautiful journal covers and some other things. And I may use some of it in a quilt at some point. So now I'm at the end. I'm going to back stitch to hold it. Come forward again. Okay. cut the thread, cut the thread. And when you're sewing, always cut your thread. Never give anything to somebody with strings hanging out and everything. It's just messy. Put your best foot forward, and people will always want your product. Want your product. So ta-da! Look, you guys, this is a journal cover. Now we're going to just making sure there's no needle on there. We're going to fit it on the journal. If I were sewing this on a sewing machine, instead of just sewing these corners, I would actually sew straight across. Let me see if this one fits first, because I may take that hand stitching out. Yep, it does. I think I will, just because I have to send out some more moderator gifts. I just wanted you to see it. So I'm doing this now just for decoration. This journal cover is actually done, but because someone will be getting this one, I want to make it look nice and finished. So I'm just going to put, there's gold thread in this machine, and if I were actually doing a heavier thickness, I have something called a walking foot, and the walking foot actually lifts the fabric up so that you don't get wrinkles and bunching when you're quilting three pieces. The three different layers move at different speeds, different paces. The other reason I'm doing the stitching across the entire top is to show you that, just a minute, is to show you that the reason you make the cover a little bit bigger is so that you still have room to stick the book in if you decide to do a decorative stitch all the way across. Again, here's the top thread, the bottom thread. You push it to the back of the sewing machine so that it doesn't bunch up under your needle and make a rat's nest. Then I'm going to make a few stitches in the front, a few stitches in the back. I know my hand is in the way, but this is how you keep your stitches going straight. For those of you who are doing bigger quilting, you could put these gloves on your hands like this. I actually have quilting gloves that are specially made. They're thin and have these. These are hot in the summertime, but you can use these to grip it and sew. And they're $1 at the dollar store. Okay, guess what, everybody? That's it. These gloves are hot to me already. Okay. Take these. I saw something funny over here I wanted to tell you guys. Some of you have family members that have surgery. Me, I had a hip replacement and a knee replacement and a couple of other little things done. So a lot of the doctors, your insurance pays for these medical kits and everything. And somebody had a deliverer. Oops, I'm touching this. I'm on the MacBook. Okay. So these, does anybody know what these are? Anybody work in the hospitals? These are suture removal scissors. They're very tiny, and this is what the doctor uses to remove stitches. They were going to throw these away, and I asked them for them. I've got, like, over the last several years, everything that my insurance paid for, I want it. I want to take it home. This machine required putting multiple threads through specific spots. I learned you had a bobbin and non. Oh, that's right. That's how the treadles were, Mike. And they had shuttle bobbins. Okay, so look, you guys, we have we have a journal cover. So now let me cut these loose strings. We don't want to give somebody, and you could take it to the machine and press it before you put it on. So now we're going to take the journal and put it in the cover. Ta-da! By the way, you guys, Martika picked up her journal today. I think she loves it. She got a watermelon journal. Okay, the ribbon for the page keeper, I'm going to put in the back, fold it under, fold it under. What is it catching on that there? Sometimes you'll make a journal cover and then you find out that you've sewn it too tight. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit in here. Well, you can just take a rotary cutter or your scissors. You see the page holder? Ta-da! Yay! Give Auntie Helen a hand. So you see how easy this is? A computer sounds awesome. But you know what? My machines that I use the most, my little Singer Featherweight, does not have a computer. Every time, like you're talking about the electricity, the power shortage, whatever, this thing gets a E for error. It turns off. You have to turn it back on. When other things happen, you have to turn it on. You have to keep doing it. I like a manual machine. If I could drive a stick shift still, I'd have a manual car. But this is how you make a journal cover from start to finish. So all of you who don't have a sewing machine, you can still participate. You can still make a lovely gift. Even though at the end I sewed it on the sewing machine because it's going out to one of the mods, who would turn this down? When nobody would turn this down. Somebody gave you a gift. They could autograph it in the inside to so and so with love. And there you have it. There you have it. So, did you guys enjoy this? If you enjoyed it, put a hands up, please. Oh, don't forget to give a thumbs up. And if you're here for the the not the rewind, the replay, you please leave a message because StreamYard doesn't save the chat. When I rerun it, I can hear my comments. Like Maria wrote down somebody that said that they were here for the first time, but I don't remember. And I will be doing, going back to them so that they can join us for other things. So again, if you want to make your own journal cover, I use 12 by 22-inch fabric, 10.5 by 18 batting, and the pocket. The pocket was actually a 6.5-inch square of contrasting fabric. Square, contrasting fabric. And if you're giving a gift, don't forget to sign your work. So, does everybody have their notes down? Thank you. This was fun. So, write a note in your journal every fourth Saturday. Oh, Barb Brownlee loves the fabric. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Every fourth Saturday, I will go live See this little handmade card, you guys? Maria Graham made that for me. So thank you, everyone. Does anybody have any questions first? Is there anybody who will be making one in the future? Well, on Saturdays, sometime we'll be painting. There might be a DIY project. I have some sanding, some refinishing to do, some carpentry stuff. And please like, comment, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you'll know when I go live again, and share the video out if you like it so that others can make a journal. You'll probably try, Mike, when they do arts and craft at night on with Mona or whoever. Some of the other, I bring it every day. She has a crafting channel. Visit each other's channel. Visit each other's channel. I'm not sure if anybody else will be. It doesn't matter how well you do. It's a matter of love. And your journal is safe. You can take this journal out in the garden. The pages aren't going to come loose. The journal that I showed you before, this one that I made years ago, this one is 10 years old. It's 10 years old. I don't know anybody who would turn down. Thank you, Grammy's Journal, for sharing. I don't know anybody who would turn this down. And for sure, you could pick up some extra change by selling them. These journals sell, well, nobody makes them with a pen cover and a page holder. They sell them for $35 and up, depending on the fabric. This fabric was actually $20 a yard. I would not have bought it for journals, but I had it. Nothing goes wasted. So, garden, quilt, and art traditions. Mother, if you're listening, Egoamote, I love you. This is an L. This is a U. I love you. Thanks for coming, everybody. And I'll see you Thursday, 4:30 Eastern on Thursday. Thank you. Barb Brownlee's making a garden journal for journals for anything. So thank you for coming and have a good evening. Have a good weekend. Don't forget Black's Tropical is live in Savannah. They'll be on probably the rest of